title of this video is going to be There Are No Wrong Numbers, and I'll start off by explaining why I've chosen that title. We live in a world that is consumed by logic, and where we focus in a particular direction, and when we're focused in that direction we tend not to deviate off, which means that many opportunities are missed. And the reason why I've chosen this title is because it's very simple. If you are so focused on what you are doing that you can't switch out if something happens that gives you a hint that there's a better way to actually go, then you may miss opportunities that will literally save your life, and you are likely to miss all the opportunities which will transform your life and put you on a quantum leap to a far better place. I'll give you some examples. I have, for a long time, considered if I dial the wrong number, that I have dialed it because I've been directed there and there's a reason for it. And just last week, I had an incredibly freaky day where I dialed several wrong numbers, and instead of putting the phone down or saying thank you very much and ringing off and ringing again, I chose to go with the flow and have a conversation about the fact that nothing happens without a reason. And I connected with some amazing people that I believe are going to open big doors for me, and that's happened for many, many, many years. For example, in my previous business as a top financial advisor, one of the things that people would stand up in front of you and talk about was that you only get referred to people who are, on your level. You don't get referred to people who are way above your level. And just to illustrate what nonsense that is, I think, consider this. People who are rich and famous have drivers, they have housekeepers, they have friends, they have all kinds of people who are ordinary. And they often are able to build relationships with those people that are more authentic and real than the people who are advising them. So those relationships become very strong relationships. And I met two of the most famous clients I've ever worked with through being introduced to them by people who were very lowly on the ladder in terms of connection with them. And both of those really opened the door for me. Now, last week, as I say, I had a couple of calls in a couple of days which were amazing. And the point is that we are living in a world where most people, even if people say they believe in something, they are scared to see clear evidence of it working. So, therefore, when something happens, you get through to somebody and something freaky happens, we normally deny it, rationalize it away within a few minutes, but you should never do that. Now, on the same point, but from a different perspective, many people have notes on their doors saying, no hawkers and no salespeople. Many people now have their phone calls screened, and you can't actually get through to them because they are so scared of somebody ringing them that may be trying to rip them off or something like that. And the point is that we have lost touch with our primal instincts, which is how a bird can sit on your lawn and start pecking, and lo and behold, it picks out a worm. I don't know whether it hears it or whether it feels it, but it bloody well knows where the worm is, and it can't physically see it. And animals very much operate on this basis. If you think about it, if they weren't using instincts that we have long ago allowed to go rusty, they would all starve, because everything out there runs incredibly fast and is very, very alert to the dangers around it. much more alert than we are in our world, which is how it is people can end up getting killed by muggers and rapists and so on. And just to give you another illustration of why I don't think this way and why I don't think you should ever think this way, you should ask yourself, if something comes through the door, consider that it has come to you because it has been directed by something to arrive on that particular day. For example, I first ran out of money completely in 2004. And when I started this journey, I knew that I would run out of money and I would then have to be using my instincts in order to get from one place to another. And just before I ran out of money, I had recently taken out a Barclays card which gave me a small credit limit. I had credit cards that had a lot more on them, but that gave me a very small credit limit. And on the day that I knew that within 2 or 3 weeks I needed to raise quite a significant sum of money, I got a letter that came through because I had a Barclays card from Barclays Card Master Loan. Now, many people would put that in the bin or they'd think, oh, that's a very expensive loan, and they'd then go around trying to find somebody who would lend them the money, and probably wouldn't get it at that point, because when you have run out of money, most people will give it away. And so when this master loan application arrived, I thought about it and I thought, yeah, that's come for a reason, so I need to ring it. And I rang up immediately and got through to a lady who was a saxophone player, and we had an amazing conversation whilst we filled out the application. And I probably inspired her as a music producer to think bigger, and she may one day cross paths with me again, and who knows where that will go. So, because it was the first time I'd run out of money, I knew that I would be accepted for a Barclays Card Master Loan because the interest rate was higher than normal. So, when I'd been accepted, the lady said, and how much do you want to borrow? Now, the amount that I was looking to borrow was £25,000, which is what I needed within 2 weeks, or my business could have gone to the wall. And the application that I received said you can borrow up to £15,000. So I was fully expecting to get £15,000 from the Barclays Card Master Loan and then have to find £10,000 from somewhere else. But I said to the lady, I said, well, I need 25, but it did say I could only apply 15. And what she said was, well, she said, they will go up to 25, so if you want me to see if they'll accept you, then we'll ask for 25,000. And I got it. And within a few days, I had the money I needed. And that's kept me going, together with all the other things I've done, up until 2020, which is actually 16 years. And if I had not sensed that there was a bigger reason why I'd received the application, I would have gone pop in 2004. And many people tend to do that. You get so many chances to actually raise money before you screw your credit rating up. So if you apply to 2 or 3 people at a much keener interest rate, and you can't present figures, which you can't in the early stages of business, that are credible, you can get turned down, and then you've blocked yourself from getting the Barclays Card Master Loan. And faced with the fact that that money literally took me across the first bridge I had to go up on the climb up my Mount Everest, do I give a shit what the interest rate was? No. Do I give a shit about the fact that it got me through a difficult point? Yes, I do. And that is how we should all approach our lives, in my opinion, by being prepared to be open to all possibilities that arrive, rather than putting things into boxes like, that's rubbish, that's good, that's junk mail, that's not. There are many examples where Just the same way I've got a wrong number and it's actually opened a big door because I've chosen to see it as a potential door. So I've had many things through junk mail that have arrived that have actually opened doors to things that I have needed, saving me from having to divert off and spend time trying to find that particular product or service. So there we go. Hopefully this helps for you to think a little bit out of the box, which is what I get people to do in terms of how you run your life and how you climb to the top of the Mount Everest that we are all here to climb by the end of our lifetimes. Take care, have a good day, just now, bye.
Yeah.